So right now it's about to go live.
Okay, so I usually have to take off these earphones because they repeat my voice, and so it's a little hard. So what's up? I've started this kind of gaming stream for my students because I know that they waste an incredible amount of time on YouTube. Um, the kind of setup that I have here right now, just to kind of give you an idea of the equipment I'm using, I have a mic. First of all, shout out to IT because they're awesome and they got me all this stuff. And I was like, for free? And they were like, yes. And I was like, nice. So they got me this mic, really good mic in terms of, right, it's like it only focuses on one direction when I want it to. So it's trying not to pick up everything around it. Like, I have this second monitor here. I'm looking at kind of the chat that you guys have. So basically what I use it for is when my students have questions, they ask me in the chat. I'm looking at the camera, I'm, playing the game, and I can answer their questions. And then I'm using this software that allows me to do some screen capture stuff. And so I'm using it to capture this screen one, which has the video game that, I'll start playing in a little bit, but I just want to give you guys an explanation of what's going on. So the reason that I kind of wanted to do this was, right, I know that they're spending a lot of time watching stuff like this. I know that students it's hard for them to focus just on like what I'm saying. And so I said, I wanted to be able to give them the content from class, but kind of hook their attention with something first. And so I just started asking my students, I'm like, what are some popular games that you guys just like to watch anyways, right, on your own time? Because they're watching these streamers play these games, and the games are like, they're pretty simple, and the streamers are literally talking about nothing. Like, they're just, hey guys, how's life? And the kids are just glued to it for hours. So I figured that if the students could watch somebody play a video game and teach theology at the same time, that they would probably learn. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to kind of talk about kind of I'm going to talk as much as I can about kind of what I've used it for, kind of some challenges that I've experienced, as well as a lot of the benefits that I've experienced from it as well. So I'll just go ahead and start this game. This game is called Minecraft. A lot of freshmen and sophomores play it. I don't know how many kids play it when they get into the older grades. Older grades, they're probably gonna care more about like more action-packed games. But Minecraft is just, you build. I'm sure that everybody, I hope that everybody kind of has seen this before. So I'm gonna go ahead and start the game. And the game is pretty basic. It's just you go around building stuff and not getting beaten up by zombies and stuff, right? So it should start in a little bit. All right, one of our students is actually on this stream as well, and he just said seniors play it too. So yeah, I actually have my students are already subscribed. So when my students subscribe to my account, they can get notifications about when I'm streaming, and so it gives an opportunity to give them notifications like another classroom, right? My students don't have to watch the live stream unless I kind of, specifically tell them to. I know that we're getting a little bit of a lag here. I'm sure that'll get fixed up in a second. Let me just looking at it. It didn't lag at my house, so I'm wondering why it's lagging here. Let's see. Should be getting fixed up. There it is. So I'm just gonna click on a single player here. Whatever. Create new world. Okay. The last few times that I've done this, I've run a live stream, and from the live stream, I just went over the kind of review packets that I sent out. I'm watching the video as well. I can see that it's lagging. I don't know what's going on with Jesuit's internet right now. It should be able to handle this. So hopefully that gets better. We will see. But I usually run reviews, and I'll have my agenda, all the objectives posted, and they have access to that, and I'll show it kind of on screen too, and I'll just kind of run through the objectives while I'm kind of playing the game, and I like to leave it open for a lot of questions that they have while they're studying. I don't want to necessarily like completely take over the stream with just like what I want to hear about. And so, sorry, this game is sometimes confusing for me. Man, we are really experiencing a strong lag here, which was unexpected, but at the same time, something goes wrong nearly every time I do it. So it's just a process of getting better, I guess. So I'll post objectives and kind of the way that if I want to access that objective, I can go here when I pause the game, it allows me to move my mouse around. Then I'll go back to my other screen, and if I want to focus on an objective, then all I got to do is close this one thing out. I can maximize, and you guys should be able to see kind of an objective. I can highlight it, say this is what we're going to focus on. This is what I'm going to explain. I just found it really helpful in terms of just allowing me to go back and forth between kind of the things that we need to know in class, and then them just getting an opportunity to directly ask me about what they any questions that they have. My students really like the idea. I would say that my freshmen are definitely more about it than my sophomores. I think Scott Berger highlighted it best, that these sophomores are just kind of like against everything for some reason. But when I saw how many freshmen were looking at it, I was really seeing the freshman scores go up for real. I mean, just looking at what Jeremy asked over there on the stream, he said, "Show us the data." I had that review session, and I tried the first time I did this. I tried a review session for the midterm, and granted, I didn't have a lot of controlled variables and all that kind of stuff, but when I did this review for the midterm, what I did see occur was the fact that like my freshmen got like an 87 average, because they asked a whole lot of questions while my sophomores barely asked any, and I don't want to talk about their average. So, that's just kind of something. I know the freshmen are just always on it a lot more. They're just more excited about the idea, I guess, because somebody's playing a video game, and then they're like, oh my gosh, I can do both. I know that one of my students, he told me, yeah, my dad saw me playing the game or on YouTube, and he told me, what are you doing? And then the son answered, it's like, I'm studying. And his dad was like, dang, I don't know what to say to that. So, let's see, just looking to see if I look for other questions. If anybody doesn't know what Minecraft is, just a game, right? But yeah, I don't know. Does anybody have? If you have any questions about it, you can go ahead and type it in the chat, and that's how I take the questions. They type it in the chat. I'm still playing the game. I answer the question. I know that we're getting some skipped frames. But that's because I don't know what's wrong with the internet. It doesn't skip frames at my house. I don't know why it's skipping frames here. And so until people ask specific questions, I'll just kind of go down the list of some of the pros and cons that I noticed. One, it allows, just kind of like the basic flipped classroom, it allows me more time in class because I don't have to worry about that crunch of like you have an hour. I can teach a topic, talk about it in class, so we can kind of have a project about it, or just have a good discussion. And something that I'm doing this Sunday is awesome. It actually lets me reteach, right? So like education theory is all like, if you check your students and they didn't learn it, then you can reteach. And it's like, yeah, sure, while I have no time in class. Here, I can reteach, and that's exactly what I'm doing on Sunday. Every Sunday, I stream for my students, and their last test was bad. And so I'm like, hey guys, corrections are due Tuesday, and I'm going to help you understand what the answers are on Sunday, so you should be there. Let's see. Looking at some of the questions. This is an in-class technique. You can. So what YouTube does is that when you're live, it'll have it live, and then it'll automatically upload it to your YouTube channel, right? So students can review this at any time. You can add into the description maybe some like timekeepers so that they can go to specific sections in your video to know like where specific things are. That's really helpful. So, I mean, I use this only outside of class. If I wanted to record a video and then show it in class, I could also do that. So, I mean, you kind of use it however you want. It's an out of class review. How many questions do you usually answer? The questions that I answer depends on entirely, how many questions they ask. I usually go on a stream for about 2 hours on a Sunday. One, because it gives me an excuse to play video games and teach about Jesus, which was kind of the goal for real from the beginning. But I'm just trying to like do what I like with what I love. So that's kind of questions. I try to guide them with their questions by posting the objectives, by saying, these are some important things to look out for. My students also make study guides and kind of review stuff in their groups that I have them in class. What kind of equipment do you need? Like I said in the beginning, you need at least 2 screens to be able to kind of manage the software. You have a mic, you have a webcam. Your computer needs to kind of be able to run whatever you want to run. Your Wi-Fi needs to be, or your internet needs to be good. I'm gonna buy a gaming computer just for me personally, because kind of the laptop. I don't think the laptop runs well enough. I don't think the graphics card is good enough. So I'm gonna do that just for funsies. But let's see. Is the lure to Minecraft or your theology class? It doesn't matter as long as they're listening. How do you keep focus on what you're saying and not on the video game? That's challenging. It takes practice. Sometimes I'll pause to explain like a really in-depth concept, and then I'll go right back in. If it's kind of like a easy question, then I'll still be playing while I'm answering the question, and that's fine. That just kind of takes practice to be able to switch your attention back and forth. Does the live feature at all concern you? Something happens midstream. Yeah, so there's a 20-second delay between what I see in the chat, or what happens, or when I say it, and what shows. So, let's say I accidentally curse or something. It hasn't happened yet, but just because I haven't played games, it made me angry. But I have 20 seconds to just end the stream, and then it won't broadcast that part. This is only possible through a computer. No, this is also possible through a console. If you have like a PS4 or Xbox, there's these things called capture cards, and I can tell you more about that. But you can go through that. You could have picture-in-picture commentary. So for instance, if I have my display capture, I could make that smaller. Let me see. Right there. So you should be seeing something like this. I have the capacity of putting it in like that, and then you should be able to kind of see. I can zoom in, so it can show like something over here, And then it can show, you know, if I have anything or I want to write here. You can also have in text added. It just depends on how much you know about the software. But yeah, so I think that's all the time. So I'm gonna go ahead and end the stream, and y'all have a great day. And I mean, I'm literally about to see you, so I guess whatever. Peace.